we have almost become accustomed to attacks on Catholic and Coptic churches, Christian churches in the Middle East. But for this to happen in France, in Europe, it really adds a different dimension. And I think that really adds to the shock that the Vatican and Pope Francis was expressing today. As you said, the Pope had expressed his pain and horror at this attack, and particularly upset because it happened inside a church, considered a sacred place where people were praying, they were saying Mass, and this is the house of God. So for Pope Francis, this is really quite a shocking thing, and the Vatican also emphasised people are already feeling the pain and the suffering that has come about from the recent attacks we've seen, obviously referring to the attacks in France and Germany. So this adds a different dimension. And I think it also adds another dimension, which is no one can be quite sure where the next attack might take place. And how can the Catholic Church be sure that its churches, whether they're in France or Italy or Germany, can be safe from any kind of violence?
When you add to the fact, Josephine, that attack took place in a church, the communique that was released by the Islamic State group, its statement in which it claimed responsibility, saying that these soldiers had acted against the Crusaders. One senses, again, as Armin was just reminding us, that shift in language. And it is, we've been saying over the course of the last few months, the point of the Islamic State group when it carries out attacks in countries like France is to sow the maximum amount of fear, but also to create divisions where perhaps divisions hadn't existed before. And it's going to be a fine line for the Catholic Church to walk, presumably, as it continues to respond to this, as to how it reacts, the words that it chooses, so as not to play into that idea of one faith taking on another.
Particularly as Pope Francis has been preaching this message of mercy, and today, just a few hours ago, he tweeted before the attack a message to the young people gathering for World Youth Day in Poland, suggesting that they present a face to the world of multicultural unity. And that kind of message is now being tested very sorely for Pope Francis. Now, this is a man a pope who has promoted ethnic understanding, tolerance, compassion. He's urged churches across Italy to open up their doors to refugees. And I'm sure he was going to also share that message to some Polish Catholic leaders in Poland who have perhaps been a bit reluctant to welcome migrants and refugees. Now, all of that is under a cloud after this attack really puts the church and puts Pope Francis perhaps in a more difficult position when he's preaching this message of compassion.